Good morning, Bellacious.
Hola, hermano.
Nice. I like that.
Hello, Bill.
How you doing, man?
Good. How are you today?
I am not sure yet. It's been cold. I've been whipped this week, so I've been 6'1" and tons of fun. I just saw it. Oh my god, that is.
It's getting longer every day. Just keep adding to the legends.
Oh man, I already have a tear from laughing. Oh my god.
Well, I was off air was talking to you about the Hip Hop Evolution show.
Yeah.
And I think I heard you mention it before, but it just totally left my mind that it even existed. And then last night I was looking around Netflix for something to watch. I was like, oh yes. And so yeah, this is my little ode to Young MC, even though we're not that far yet, but in the series.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How far did you get?
I just finished season 1. Just watched the first 4.
Okay, so
so I just finished with NWA.
NWA. Okay.
Yeah.
So I watched that whenever it first came out, and then I think they added another season later on, and the second season was way better than the first season.
Oh, so really?
Yeah. Because I remember watching it and I was like, oh, this is informative and cool, you know. And then whenever I watched it again, because I just thought it was done, and then it came back later with another season. And I think they do a much better job in the second seaon.
Dude, there's 3 or 4 seasons now.
Have I seen all of that?
Because I accidentally watched. I thought it was a movie. I didn't even see. I was like, oh, Hip Hop Evolution, cool, play. And I watched, I think the latest episode from season 4, and it was about a NOLA, New Orleans rap. The whole episode was about Master P and yeah, No Limits and Cash Money Records. Those two, and I was like, wow, that was really cool. I was like, surely this is they didn't call it Hip Hop Evolution and just do NOLA. And then sure enough, I went back and I was like, series, okay, got it. Yeah. So then I went back to the beginning and started with
Maybe I'm behind.
DJ Hollywood and Cool Herc.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Good morning, Levi.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Levi. Man, now that's cool. I'm excited because in the second one, for a long time I was not really a huge fan of Wu-Tang Clan. Right, coming up, it was just kind of just like a little, because I was a Tribe fan, right? And Tribe is the polish, and Wu-Tang Clan is the grit.
Yep.
And but after watching this movie and kind of hanging out with you too much and thinking way too much about marketing, I'm like, oh, I get it now. I now understand it. And from a marketing perspective, this is fantastic, right? Yeah. Let's sign one deal to do some albums together, but let's put 9 people or how many people are in the Wu-Tang Clan, and then RZA gets individual production and record deals for each one of the people in the Wu-Tang Clan, separate from the Wu-Tang Clan. I'm like, man, that's nuts.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart. Well, I'm just now starting to. I always knew Russell Simmons was a genius. Mm-hmm. But retelling his story as part of it too, it's starting to bake in. I'm like, man, that guy him and Rick Rubin, dude, they just pushed limits. It was awesome. So I was actually sitting there on the couch last night going, I wonder if this is what old people do. We go relive the things that we lived as a kid, but we live it as an adult now and really understand what was happening. Really, really. You know, as a kid, I loved hip hop too. That's why you and I, was one of the very first things we talked about was hip hop. So
yeah. Well, what's funny is you see that video of the coach for parents, so that way they don't turn into their parents. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Right. And the guy's standing in the bookstore, and he's over there by like the World War II books, and he's like, "Do you really want to read this?" And he's like, no.
Yes, the blue hair in the Costco. We all see it. We all see it.
Blue.
We all see it. Yeah, but I did. My first thought was, this is amazing. And then my second thought was like, am I getting like officially old? Like I'm going back and rewatching documentaries of my youth. Thinking about the good old days.
And like here I am, I'm like, ooh, maybe I need to go back to like season 1 and rewatch this thing again.
Oh,
like,
so good. You're right though. It's informative and fun and like cool, and it made me want to go get a pair of Superstar Adidas again. And what I did look for was any T-shirts, because I knew nothing about DJ Hollywood before the documentary. Like I'd heard Cool Herc, but I really liked DJ Hollywood's style, and there was nothing on DJ Hollywood anywhere. Like I went to Etsy and Pinterest and like, so I'm like, add that to the T-shirt list for John and Jake's T-shirt. DJ Hollywood.
DJ Hollywood. Yeah. Cool Keith. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of really interesting people.
They had cool names too, man. It's kind of like that 70s funk kind of morphing into something else.
Mm-hmm. And then you get, and what's crazy, and this is one of the reasons why I love Hamilton so much, is because like the way that he wrote Hamilton kind of follows hip hop, right? Yeah. Because like hip hop was very boom bappy, right? Everything's on the beat and like nothing super crazy, right? It's like all the Beastie Boys stuff, right? And then you have like Rakim come along, right, and changes everything because he's double tempoing, and when you listen to like Hamilton and you see that very first song where he's meeting like the rest of who becomes his crew, they start off rapping with that just very kind of boom bappy thing, and then he comes in with like these incredibly complex couplets, and it's following the same trajectory of like hip hop.
Yeah,
in general, which is cool.
And actually, Rakim was the last thing I saw.
So
I saw the Rakim piece, and I thought it was so cool that they asked him where he got his flow, and he was like, John Coltrane. I was like, oh, dude, genius. Yeah, because he was like, I just figured if I could rap like Coltrane played the sax, it'd be done. Game would be over. I was like, oh,
yeah, no pressure.
Yeah, right. That's right. No, perfection. What? But he seemed to achieve it.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
All right. Well, there's your Thursday morning hip hop lesson, folks.
Hey! It is the last working Thursday of the freaking year.
Woot!
No more 2020 workable Thursdays.
Not officially.
Not officially. Next week is Thanksgiving. As much as I would like to go back a month.
Yes, make that cheesecake again.
No. Well, actually, yes. I think I've committed to it. I'm not sure yet, though. Yeah. Christmas Eve and then New Year's Eve. Yep. So, man.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of, did you you said you had not indulged yourself in the Tim Ferriss Jerry Seinfeld episode yet?
Right? I'm holding myself apart, actually. Yeah.
Are you saving it for like a holiday?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, because I know what will happen when I listen to that interview. It's going to open about 3 black holes for me, right? Because I really love like the craftsmanship of Seinfeld and how he thinks about comedy and mastery. I just think that that's really fascinating. I mean, obviously, I've not been on the Tim Ferriss boat for like a while as far as like his episodes because they're just long, right? I'm not driving anywhere.
Yeah, he's like Rogan.
Yeah, so I'm concerned that that's going to open 15 things. Oh, well, that sounds interesting. Maybe I should be working on that. And then Year of No, Jake. It's the Year of No next year.
Well, not yet. So squeeze it in before the Year of
No. Man, so yesterday was a pretty full day. It was an awesome day. I got to work with like my coach in the group who works with my coach, and we were doing group role play scenarios yesterday, and the guy who was supposed to be the salesperson was busy for the role play, right? And this is what happens to people, right? They skip the role play days because it makes them uncomfortable and everything. And I've been that guy. Like I get it. I understand. A couple of years ago, I was that guy who'd be like, "Oh, video role play day? I've got a meeting, right? I used to
It's
be
hard
this.
that morning. I'm sorry.
And so so my coach comes to like our group, and it's me and this guy Mason, and he's like, well, John's not going to go. John's group isn't going to go. And I'm like, no, we're going. And they're like, what? And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to be this other guy. I'll sell his thing, right? Because it's easier when you sell somebody else's stuff because you don't have any of the attachment that you do when it's your stuff, right? And when you're selling based off of a process, this is a lot easier, right? Because you remove your attachment to the thing and you just get to like focus on the conversational aspects, and that's what makes you good. Mm-hmm. So, and this plays into later on in my day. And so we run through the call. It's a role play, and it was okay, right? I didn't think it was the best version of that I do, because this is how I lead gen, right? I tell people like, hey, let me ask you 10 questions. I'll sell your stuff back to you. Mm-hmm. And people are always like astounded by it. So of course it went over super well. I got great compliments, which was, validating and also, uncomfortable because I don't like getting compliments. So then later on in the day, I had to take a call for a lead for an agency that I've never sold before, never had a conversation about. They work with like CBD and addiction and sober houses and stuff that's very complex and hard to do on Facebook. And so I had my first call for that yesterday. It's supposed to be 3 calls. There's some newlywed stuff with scheduling, so ended up only being 1. This dude did not want to talk to me like at all. He was like, I said, hey, this is John. Is this Dan? And he was like, yeah, it is. And I was like, hey, and kind of go into my thing. And he goes, yeah, is this a CEO? And I said, man, it's not. Is that what you were expecting? Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, I talked to someone and they said the CEO was going to be here. And I was like, man, okay, maybe I didn't get the memo, but like I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to talk to you, like see if you're even in a spot to where we could help you, because we don't just work with anybody, right? We know who we can kill it for. We know who we can't. So we might have this conversation and leave it at a no. Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh yeah, well, let's talk later. And I was like, cool, man, I get it. You weren't expecting this. I understand. What were you expecting on this call? And that was my question, because one of the things that I do after a sales call is I go through and I try to find like the one question that was like uncomfortable, right? And that was my supremely uncomfortable question, right? Okay. When you set this appointment with the SDR/VA who reached out to you, what was your expectation for the call? Mm-hmm. You want to talk about an uncomfortable question, right? Yeah. And he was like, well, and I was like, okay, man, I understand completely. We should probably be on the call. By the way, the people that we're talking to, and I kind of do some of my pain stuff, some of the stuff, that I'd sent to you. And I was like, you're not dealing with any of that? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay, cool. Do you know anybody else who is and is concerned about working with someone who might get their accounts blackballed? And he was like, wait a minute, what do you mean? And I was like, well, what do you mean? And what do you mean blackballed? And I was like, well, that CBD is kind of like a no-no, right? And you're talking about putting it front and center on Facebook, right? And he was like, yeah. And I said, okay, what happens if your account gets blackballed? And he's like, well, I don't know. And I said, well, I can tell you, because we've had to do this a couple of times, right? We have to scrap the whole brand, scrap all of your packaging and everything else, and start all the way over with a new account to do it the right way. Do you have time for that here in a couple of months? No. It was a good call. Yeah, we ended it at a no because they have no budget and he's still in a bit of a DIY mindset. So obviously not going to be a good fit there on both ends of that, right? But it was a good call. And by the end of it, he's like, man, this is my first call of like talking to somebody who runs an agency like this. And I was like, well, man, I get it. You got to go talk to some other people and find the right fit. And he was like, man, dude, this was incredibly helpful. It's like, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That is the goal of this, And so he was talking about throwing $500 at one ad he created himself. And I said, man, can I give you some advice? And he said, yeah. I said, don't do that. Keep your money. And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, look, the concepts around like good ad development and media buying are complex. And, it sounds like you've done some reading and that's fantastic, but I'm here to tell you, the $500 is just not enough to test and get good data and understand what you need to be doing with the next version of it. So I would wait. I would save your money and I would hold on to it. Don't get talked into throwing $500 at an ad because you're just not going to have great results.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's good advice too.
Yeah. Well, because it's true, right? Like the bigger the sample size, the clearer the data, the better you're going to be able to do. He's talking about chalking this thing at like $100 a day for 5 days. And it's like, well, Facebook is going to know that you're only running this thing for 5 days, right? And so do you think they're going to show the 5-day campaign, or do you think they're going to show the 90-day campaign? They're going to prioritize the 90-day campaign because they're going to make a lot more money off of that person. Like, let's be thoughtful of like what they're really looking for, right? They want consistent advertisers, not somebody who's just going to like load it up and take a shot. So
exactly. I remember we used to tell people around Google PPC the same thing. It was like, do you think Google wants people that are giving them money for 6 months or 6 weeks?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what they prioritize, no matter what they tell you. And
one of the things, and I don't know if this is still an SEO factor, but like this blew me away whenever I first heard this, and I think about it a lot now. They know how long your domain registration is for, right? So if you register a domain for 1 year versus a domain that's registered for like 7, which one of those seems like the more powerful, better established thing, right?
Yeah.
The 7-year one, you know, and somebody told me that once, and I was like, of course, all of these platforms are going to prioritize all of this.
I used to speak on SEO and paid advertising. I would tell people, think like the advertise, or think like Google, think like Facebook, think like wherever you're putting ads, think like them, and then build your ads to fit what makes them money, and then they will show your ads. Now, obviously, you want to write the ads for your customer and whatnot, but like all those things like that, like think, and one of the tiny simple little tricks are in the Facebook ads, like that you just tipped the hand to, was run a lifetime budget. No matter how long you want to run the ads for, run a lifetime budget, because Facebook goes, oh, lifetime budget. They're going to be here for a while. So little things like that.
I mean, and it's crazy, but it makes the complete sense when you put yourself squarely in the shoes of, Zuck, right? Go put on a hoodie, go give yourself a derpy haircut, and then think about like what you would want, right? Whose ads are you going to show?
Yeah.
Anyway, how was your day yesterday? I've just been running my mouth.
Mine was good. It was I'd say like a medium, like pace day. Got everything I need to get done. I got my follow-up done with coaching. It went really well. So what's interesting is, we're doing this hero on a mission, like basically planning for executives. But it's supposed to be personal, that then you take into your business, right? So it's about what you want for your life, for your career, and things like that. And it starts with writing an obituary after you kind of go through some exercises. And that is hard to do for someone under 30, much less over 40. So this guy is 24, and he was like, I can't get there. And I'm like, he's like, hold on, I got it. Look, hold on. $. This is all I'm worried about. $. That was a different client.
Well, no, I'm just saying at 24, it's hard to be thoughtful about like anything else, Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was like, you're what?
Well, I was gonna say I'm working with this guy who's 20, and he is incredibly thoughtful in like all of these things that like you want to talk about. And like I talk to him, and half the time I'm just like pissed because I'm like, what was I doing at 20? It's so radically different than what this. Oh, that's right. Nothing is what I was doing. I wasn't working on myself. I was
selling cologne.
I mean, selling cologne, getting ready to go hang out with Uncle Sam. That's what I was doing at 20.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm finding a trend, because this is the second person under 25 I've done the exercise with, and I've heard of another version of this. Like, instead of writing your obituary, write about a party that's hosted in your honor 10 years from now. Like, so you're 24, at your 34th birthday, let's talk about all the cool things you hoped you'd done and people you've met. experiences that you've had and things like that. He was like, "Oh, dude, I can totally do that. Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, that's exciting, you know."
Mhm.
So that we got some of that. So that was fun. It just like when you talk about framing and sales
Yeah.
call, kind of the same thing with clients, right? You have to frame the activities in a way that they're going to be able to like invest and be excited about it. So
And here's the deal, like that small shift, as opposed to your eulogy obituary, right? Like, hey, we're there. You're getting an award in 10 years from now.
yeah, yeah,
What do you want the guy to say before you step up? And it's so much more approachable. Holy crap, man! Good job. That's awesome.
thanks.
Great frame. Great
Yeah.
frame.
Well, that was fun because it's always fun to see somebody go from like brick wall to like
Yeah.
immediate, like a door opens, like poof, run through
Yeah.
it. Done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did that, and let's see, what else did we do yesterday? I did some podcasts. Oh, we had our quirk Christmas party, like our Secret Santa,
Okay.
on Zoom last night. So I got two things. First thing, because this is like a little, like fun gift type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Flailing at life.
I'm flailing inflatable tube man. Or as Alice calls it,
life lessons. Be your own biggest fan. Get noticed. Be flexible.
Oh man, I love this.
Deflate you. It's like a kid's book almost. So I love it. I'm going to actually read it today. And then I got a whiskey glass that has a proprietary gel in it that you just put the glass in the freezer, and then you don't have to use ice and water down your drink.
Interesting.
Yeah. So good little party last night. It was fun. There was a lot of laughs. So
that's awesome. That's really good, man.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have for today?
So today I've got writing. Guess what? I've got writing. I'm a writer now.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. Lots of writing. I've got actually kind of a light day. I've got lunch with a friend who's moving to Arizona. So we're going to get him.
Mike is moving to Arizona.
Mike Tao?
No, Mike Peroni.
Oh, okay.
Right. His fiance. Okay, so this is crazy. His fiance is finishing her residency up in Chicago, and so now it's like the next step is if you can get a fellowship, right? You get to go do more advanced training and the pay and everything. So they put you through this process of interviewing, and then it's a blind kind of match, right? Like I think you go through and you put the ones that you like, and they go through and put you, and then this and it's ridiculous, right? Because anxiety, like you're dealing with people's futures here. I mean, and so thankfully, she got matched, right? There's always concern that you're not going to match, and so he messaged me yesterday. It's like, I'm moving to Arizona. I was like, oh, wow, okay, cool. So good for them.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy because I remember I had a friend who was going through that process and was telling me about it like 10 years ago, and it was the same thing. Like it's like date match, swipe left, swipe right for your career. I was like, what? How's that a thing? And they're like, that's how they do it. You muted, I think.
Sorry. Yeah. If she didn't get a match, she was going to have to cold call each one of these programs and be like, hey, did you guys fill all your spots?
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, no.
Holy cow.
Yeah. I mean, so much props to Mike and Grace. Good job.
Like grade school and not getting picked in the line and then trying to like attach to a team after they're already formed.
Yeah. Absolutely. Man, yeah, I was like, man, I'm so glad. So it'll be good for Mike because Arizona is obviously very close to Vegas. Southern California's got a lot of gambling. Mike's a professional poker player for people who've not heard me talk about Mike. Yeah. So that's exciting. Great for them. I'm stoked because I have another friend, Charles, who's moving to Arizona, and Shivam, who we do a lot of coaching together, is from Arizona. So yeah, I've got quite a few Arizona peeps all of a sudden, which is cool.
Yeah, that's fun.
Man, I have a cool opportunity today. Okay. I get to go be on Jason Croft's podcast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I sent him a message and I was like, hey, man, if you're looking for guests, or if the stuff I talk about would be of value, I would love to come on the show. And he's like, yeah, man, let's schedule a call. And I was like, okay, a call to like make sure that this is a good fit. And he's like, we don't need that stinking call. Come on, man. I was like, okay, cool. So we're doing that today. A new client is coming on board for Sales Practice Lab, so we're going to do his onboarding, get his goals on. This is a very cool guy named Amit, which I'm excited about. I have to go coach Jordan and Levi, catch up with those guys. Sales Practice Lab at 9, one-on-one at 10, mastermind meeting at 11, goal setting 11:30. What is that? Oh, podcast interview. I got to catch up with Al from Sales Throwdown because we're talking about essentially a coaching program for him, teaching like how he runs his clinics and stuff like this, so that way he can help others. Yeah. And then I have a catch up with a friend who's got some Zoom questions and like delivering via Zoom and all of this stuff that I do. So I have a very ridiculously full day.
You have kind of an eye forward day, sounds like.
Oh man, I am wiped this week. I am wiped this week each day whenever I'm done because of like so much like I-ness, right? And socializing. Like Tuesday, after all that networking, like I had amazing conversations with people, but I was just like, oh, afterwards. So I imagine there will be some of that today as well because I'll be draining the battery probably.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, really like getting a ton done, and really I'm really putting a lot more focus into referrals and introductions, which has been nice, and just something I really enjoy doing. So I've made some really great introductions this week with the people that I've been meeting in the Underdogs Slack with Noah and those guys, and just trying to help everybody get connected and grow their businesses. I love it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I got this morning. It's a pretty chill day compared to Jones Small Mountain's momentous mountainous days.
Hey, baby, there's only so many Thursdays in a year. You got to make the most of them.
The last one, yeah. So I better fill in some gaps. That's all I got to say.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
You know what?
It may get filled with hip hop. Who knows?
Dude, that's fair, right? And the writing is probably enough anyway, right? The writing and the hip hop, you probably don't need to do much else.
I mean, I've met all my obligations. I'm reached. Yeah, I reached all my goals this year. So the last Thursday is a bonus.
I love that. I love that you have the clarity of like knowing that you hit your goals, right? Because like a lot of people have no idea. Like I didn't hit all my goals because I was not planning for COVID. Yeah,
for sure. What makes me curious, and I'm gonna pull this post up. I put a post up on LinkedIn yesterday. It was a poll, and dude, it was asking about
these polls are killing on LinkedIn.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
If you're not doing polls,
I see them smash. The problem is a lot of those BuzzFeed style posts just kill, or polls, which I
think you got to put a little bit of like quote unquote thought leadership around the poll, right? To like really have any kind of chance of getting some reach.
I've also seen like, are you a cat or a dog in the sales world? Like,
I don't like that.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, it's
that's annoying.
Yeah, and they've done really well. I can't stoop to that. All right. So I put this up.
Ooh, I know what I'm gonna do for my next one. Actually, yeah. I'm not gonna say it here because I don't want someone else to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go post this thing first, and then later on, John's a wannabe. I already know that. Okay.
So I didn't put a lot of thought leadership around it. I just use someone that likes to set goals for yourself. Self-assessment is a huge part of making goals work. So let's find out how you did this year. What percentage of your big important goals did you get done? So 33 votes, about half say 50 to 100% of their goals. So my question is that because of COVID? Or would that be the same any year?
So yeah. I'm gonna share a little bit of knowledge with you that I think might be applicable to here, right? When you go to a poker room, right, and if Levi is still watching, he'll be able to echo this statement. And someone says, "I lost a little bit," it normally means they lost a lot, right? If they say, I broke even, that means they lost a little bit, right?
Yeah.
If they won a little bit, they broke even. If they won a lot, they won a little bit. So I think I think if you had broken that up into more segments, which I know that they don't allow you to do on there, but I think if you had broken it up, I think most people would have put 70 to 80 because that's just how they feel about their goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think I've done about this much, and they don't really know or have any clarity.
Well, my follow-up, I was trying to get people involved in conversation, right? This is a prospecting post to ask, great, how did you measure that? I'd love to talk to you about, tell me more about how you measured those goals.
And then it's like the lights come on and the roaches go,
silence.
Silence.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. The poll feature has been fairly interesting. I posted one about like, what do you think the most important foundational component to sales is? And I've got lots of votes in from people that I'm not even connected with. So, and trust is the leading answer, which is amazing to me. I'm super happy about that because I did put overcoming objections, and that has some votes, but trust is the bigger one. So,
yeah.
All right, man, I gotta go.
Right.
I need to go coach and be productive. So,
okay.
Have a great Thursday, Bill.
Have a great Thursday,
man. I'll talk to you soon.
All
Cheers.
Right.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Levi.